Yeah.
Good evening, one and all. I am Himanshu Saluja of Deekas University, Murthar, Haryana. Today we have between us Dr. Yogesh Prabhakar Koparkar, who has pursued Doctorate of Philosophy Technology from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai in June in 2010. He is working with Jubilant Life Science, Nira, Maharashtra as an Associate Director, Nira Site Head Business Excellence. Dr. Yogesh Koparkar has also been offering 15-year experience in process engineering, project execution, engineering process design and commissioning plant operations and product, research and developments, practicing Lean Six Sigma and TPM methodology for enhancing process productivity. I would lastly conclude by expressing my heartiest gratitude to him for giving all of the students present here his valuable time, his busy schedule, pouring out his immense knowledge and experience among all of us. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your
Thank you.
precious time to knowledge the students.
Thank you. Thank you, Himanshu.
You're welcome,
And
sir.
it's my great pleasure to connect with you, youngster. So I have completed my BE in 1999. So this 21 years of last 21 years, I've been working in the industry or doing the research. So I'll be presenting. It's a great pleasure to present what I have learned last 21 years and sharing the experience with you. It's not one type of training, but sharing experience what I have got it from this last 21 years, 15 years of industrial and remaining 5 years of experience in R&D. So we'll start with our presentation. Can you see my
Yes, sir.
slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Christine?
Yes, sir.
No issue. So
Yes.
Yes, sir.
basically, green. There are different types of belts in the process six Lean Six Sigma. It started first with the white belt, where you it just knowing what is Six Sigma. Then there is another stage or belt. It's called as a yellow belt, wherein you will learn a basic principle of Lean Six Sigma, various tool, DMAC methodology. So that will be introduced, and how improvement happens. That you are taking a journey of it. In green belt, that is another step, third step towards Lean Six Sigma. In that, you are getting master of the DMAC process. After it's come as a black belt project. It's like doing a PhD. It consists of different types of tools having a strategic methodology for identifying problems followed with the giving solution for that by data analysis. Then there is another stream where uh, another step is like master black belt. That step is the highest stage where the strategy and the business goal align, and that person will working for the organization growth as well as the growth of the mindset. So these are the four steps, or you can say stages, wherein this Six Sigma person grows, right from white, yellow, green, black, and then comes a master black belt. He will be the mentor for all green belt, yellow belt, black belt, and he is also part of the organization to do strategies. In the second step of this Lean Six Sigma is Yellow Belt project, Yellow Belt. Now I will take a journey of this Yellow Belt, how the project is taking place, and what are the stages are there or phases are there within this Yellow Belt project. So, are you ready, guys? So, in Yellow Belt project, there are 5 DMAC phases. Starting with define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. What in define we are doing? We are making a problem statement and a project charter. We are defining our team. That is a team charter. Also, we are doing SIPOC. SIPOC, you will be asking me, what is a SIPOC? SIPOC having 5 different words. S stands for supply, who is supplying input material to you. I for input. P for process, wherein you are getting your final product. O is for output, and C is for your customer. So mostly this Six Sigma approach is moving towards the satisfaction of customer. Prime importance is satisfaction of customer. Customer gives a specification. On that basis, we are preparing our product output. If customer is not happy, then whatever we are preparing or making, it's not of use. So therefore, we have to understand the linkage between supplier, input, process, output, and customer. And everything will lead to a satisfaction of the customer. Then comes VOC, voice of customer. What customer wants. So that is the specification that we have to take it from the customer, and accordingly we have to prepare output. For example, whenever we go into store to purchase a television set, now most of the buyers are taking a smart TV. That's why the prices are going down. And now you have said your customer specification, I want a smart TV. So you'll go to the shop. He is offering a normal TV. Should you purchase that? Answer is no. Because your specification is you want a smart TV. You want to see all the live TV shows through internet. So you have to specify your requirement, specification, and you are purchasing smart TV. Now in smart TV, if you are adding more specification, like you want HD quality or 4K, in that case, again the criteria changes. Now the supplier or that shop owner has to keep HD TV or 4K TV. Like that, in most of the industries, it's the customer base who is purchasing the product from them. And based on that specification, the industry is manufacturing product. That is the voice of customer which is in. If the industry is not making that quality of product, then he will not buy. Why should he take? He will take it from others, and hence the business will go down. From voice of customer in defined phase, we are converting that voice into your product. That means where you have to work. That is called critical to quality. Now, voice of customer converted to critical to quality, that means the parameter what you are getting it for your product. Again, take an example of a television set. If you are having two types of TVs, one is new one and other one is old one. That means we can say upgrade one, upgrade two, and you are having enough money to purchase upgrade two also. So you have set the specification that you have to go with the upgrade two. Should you take? Should you buy update one? No. Answer is no, because it's not as per your specification. So there will be a waste of TV number one for him, for shop owner, and he has to scrap it. Like that, when in the industry we are preparing any product, we have to specifically prepare that specification. Now, another example we will take. For that is take a salt, example of salt. We want crystalline white salt and we want to purchase it and use it for the our preparing a food. If that salt contain a black particles in that, can you buy that salt? Is it as per your specification? Answer is no. So the now shop owner has to keep that quality of salt and he has to deliver to his customer, right? So he is always purchase good quality of salt from good industries. So like that, defined phase will give you CTQ, critical to quality. Now that will be your the main problem to the process. So business will say, okay, you have to dispatch certain X quantity of material to Y customer with this quality, with specific quality. He has given a quality of, for say, take a number of 99%. And but we are preparing 98%. Can he buy the product? The answer is no. Therefore, the yellow belt team will come into picture. Now he'll see why we are not getting a quality of 98%. What is the problem? Why the marketing team is not able to sell that? Because the answer is we are not preparing as per the huge customer specification, and hence the yellow belt team will start with the charter. He will write a business case. The main criteria or the action for defined phase is preparing a charter. And the charter, in the charter, we have to write a business case. In business case, how we have to ask 5W and 1H question. What is the problem? When the problem arises? Where is the problem? Why is the problem? Which is the critical factor for that? And how we can solve the problem. So that kind of phase, we have to put it into the business case. And then we have to go for the problem statement, that we are not able to prepare a product of 98%, 99% quality. We are preparing 98% quality. Hence, we are not achieving the marketed sale. The sale has gone down to 50% in FY20. So I have taken what I have given. I have talked about from when it was occurred. What is the problem? Right? I am making that problem as a smart problem. Right? Specific that quantity 98% and the customer specification is 99%. We are not achieving the quality. And from when it is occurring. So that time bound phase I have talked with you. After that, in charter, it's a target, what you have to set. Now, the specific example I'm talking about, the 99% purity you want, that will be maintained, and you will increase the sale from 50% to 80% by say FY March 21. So you have talked about the target, you have talked about the timeline by when you will reach that, because mostly there is a specificity for the timeline. Always remember, whenever you do any Six Sigma process or project, in that timeline is very important. And that timeline goes with you have to define that timeline, and we have to work with that discipline timeline. It's not a Panchavarshik Yojana, you know. We have to complete within the stipulated time, and hence our organization will get a profit out of it. Understood? So this is about define phase, where you have to clearly define your problem. Then comes a measure phase. Now this is very important phase. In this phase, what you are doing, you are collecting a data. Now what type of data? Data is anything. It may be continuous, it may be discrete. It may be anything which is related to your problem, right? So you are having a X type of process in which you are not getting quality of the product, and there are n number of equipment which are processing your input raw material and giving you finalized product. Now that process, whatever black box is there, different equipments are there. So it is related to your different parameters set that you have to collect. So that parameter set, whatever you are getting output, that data sample collection plan you have to do. You have to specify in this. And after specifying a sample collection plan, now whatever data you are getting it, say 98% or purity you are getting it, Now that purity you are analyzing by some method. Now you here in measurement system, first you are validating your measurement system, and that is done by the measurement system analysis. So whatever analysis you are doing, is it authenticated, is it validated, or is it true, or there is issue with the measurement system? Because mostly in the industry, if you most of you are knowing a distillation column or any heating equipment, heating system like reactor and all, that is having a temperature measurement. For example, take a case of uh, a thermometer, right? Now, if thermometer is not calibrated with the standard one, then you will get a different reading. For example, in COVID cases, now COVID case is going in the vast majority, and it is a fear factor for everybody. Now here we are analyzing, we are testing temperature. Now this thermometer, it's not properly calibrated, and it is not showing the correct temperature. Then if the person is having a higher temperature, he will escape and mix with the people, and again there will be a problem with the increase in the COVID case, right? So if that thermometer it's calibrated and it gives a zero error, then your measurement system what you are using is of good quality, and whatever minor error is there, that is acceptable. Now you'll ask me, what is the percent of error it should have? So measurement system analysis will work with the percentage error of 0 to 10%. Gauge R&R variation. You will learn when you move forward. But the message what I want to give it is that whenever you do a project, you have to think on whatever data you are taking it, that should be validated and properly justified. You have to see the variation within the same temperature reading. So variability should not be more than 10%. And then you do a baselining for say 1 year. Mostly for making a baseline, you have to collect a 1 year data and take the process in the forward direction. After collecting a data, making a baseline, you know where is your process. Then you go for the analyze phase. Now in analyze phase, you are analyzing the data. But moreover, you are identifying and prioritization of input variable. It means whatever baseline you have got it, now that baseline, how it is related to the process parameters. Process parameter maybe you can say process parameters. You can take temperature, reactor temperature. You are measuring it. If the temperature goes high, you are not getting a good yield because degradation is happening in the reactor. So you are relating it with that, and you will be preparing a fishbone diagram, Ishikawa diagram. In fishbone diagram, that you will be having 6 measures which are coming from man, machine, material, measurement, method, and Mother Earth or environment. This element are the causes. And finally, the head of fish will be seen as the effect. From that, you are finding a cause, and from that probable cause, you are doing the Viva analysis by collecting a data. You are preparing a control chart with that, doing the regression analysis, and DOE is the another design of experiment. In that, there are certain effect is there, and there are different 5 to 6 number of variable. How they are related, it is calculated over there. I'm just giving you overview for this is to understand what are the phases are there. And once you will understand that, keep in mind when other professor or the faculty will teach you about that, you will come in your mind that yes, it is working like this. Whenever you do project, you will do that connectivity between your output variable, output CTQs with your input CTQs, which is coming from your process, right? So you are connecting your input with output, right? So analyze phase is basically for analyzing the causes that has created this effect. After this, by doing a Viva analysis, you will come to a corrective and preventive action. You are asking a question why it is happening, and you will come to the conclusion that yes, it is happening because of this. So you will collect, making an action from that, action plan for that, and that action plan you will make a corrective and preventive action. Corrective for spot fixing, and preventive, it will be stopping a reoccurrence of same cause, right? So there are two aspects. One is the corrective action, which is only for the spot correction, and the preventive action is for preventing a reoccurrence of same cause, or within the plant or within the organization, like that. Then comes the phase of improve, action plan for improvement. So whatever corrective preventive action is there, we are making an action plan and making a tracker of it. And then again we are collecting the data and we are comparing both the result before and after, and do sample t-test and validating whatever improvement is there. So we are checking with one, with the mean variation. Hope you understood the mean variation. It's the average of all the data you have collected. And the pilot run is, we are taking it. So from that, whatever corrective preventive action we have taken, that action we are preparing plan or schedule, and that schedule we are implementing at the shop floor and checking how our output is varying. Now here you will see the variation. Again, I will come to that purity kind of purity case, that we are getting a 98% purity and customer has specified 99. Now we have, because of our action plan, we have reached to 99% purity. Now that data we are comparing with our previous result. And hence, in whatever action plan we have taken, well prepared, log that improvement, and whatever changes and corrective action we have taken, that we will standardize and take into the batch manufacturing record, or we'll make a rule of it to get same purity what we want. So in nutshell, if you see, this is all about the phases in yellow bed. I will just show you a video how this DMAC process how we can use it in our day-to-day life. Just hold it. Nikhil, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will just play a video, right?
Okay.
I will just check. So you are getting it what I'm saying, or is there any question? Hello, any questions are there up till now?
Sir, what is two sample test?
Two sample test, yeah. So what we are doing, say there are two datas. One is before and after. Okay? Now in two sample tests, sample one, that is X, and sample two, is X2, consider that. And that data mean is checked, right? So mean of two sample. Now that mean is checked. There are two types of hypotheses which are going on. One is the null hypothesis, and then one is alternate hypothesis. I will just simplify these two terms. Null hypothesis says mean are equal. Both the means are equal. In that case, you are specifying a null hypothesis. In that, there is no change in your before and after, that X1 and X2, no improvement. But if this mean of two samples, it's not equal, one is higher or one is lower, then we are going for the alternate hypothesis. So whenever we go for the improvement, right, this two sample t-test is done for the mean, right? I think I'm not fighting that video. Next time I will just prepare all the videos for you, so that from video or animation you will come to know where is the problem and how we have to attack. Okay? So first we'll go with the so these are the phases, and we'll go with the I'll go with the presentation. So okay, so here is the presentation. Okay, so most of the time the problem is stated by the business, or there is a problem at the workplace. Business, they will business is dynamic. You can see in the COVID test, mostly most of the organization has slowed down their production, and that has caused the slowing the manufacturing processes. Now business will always think about how I can maximize my production. Say a plant is having the capacity of 100 metric ton, how I can make it 200 metric ton. So that problem will come to the workplace where we are manufacturing it. So it is driven by business to workplace or the plant. Now there are a problem at the workplace which is identified the site team, and they are explaining it to the business. So if we can do the debottlenecking of the process, then definitely we can improve the productivity. So there will be hand in hand with the business and the problem. So in life, there are obstacles. And from that, we have to find the opportunity for our growth. So this slide is for that. And always a Six Sigma professional, we see for the obstacle, and that will give you the opportunity to find a solution for that problem. So always Six Sigma professional, yellow belt, green belt, black belt, master black belt, they are always looking at the problems. So always problem says, I'm impossible. But if you break that word, it says, I'm possible. And that's called the opportunity. And that opportunity, if we can use this DMAT philosophy of define, measure, analyze, and improve control phase, you will come to the solution, and you will definitely find a solution for that. So this is about how to find the problem and from where the problem is generated. Let's go to the slide. What do you see? You know the story, right? Elephant and 6 blinds, right? So they are touching the elephant and they are defining their problem. This is the way in which conventional thinking. It is not a data driven, right? But in DMAC philosophy, we are actually defining a problem. We are collecting a data. It's not with the experience. We are collecting a data using different methodology, different tools, and finding a solution for the problem. And we are correctly defining problem that will give a solution. Right? So this is a classic case you have heard in you have heard in your college school days, but same thing is happening in the industry. Now there is a paradigm shift in this. Mostly people are using a DMAT philosophy, which is a data driven, and from that you will get a solution. So in define phase, there is one term which is coming, the Gamba walk. After having a good dinner or lunch, we are going for the walk for a few kilometers. That is for our process or digestion process to be efficient. But here, similarly, a Gamba walk is conducted to see how the people are carrying out the process. Is it with the procedure or they are bypassing the procedure? So there is a tendency that mostly some or the other step they are skipping and adding, and that is causing the deviation, and that is very important to see process which is going in as is. When I started with working with one of the industry, I understood the power of this Gamba walk, and still I'm doing that, because when you are going on shop floor and checking the each and every procedures, and with the procedure things are happening or not, you will get the clarity that why that deviation is occurring in your product. So this is another way. This is the methodology that we can adapt for defining and analyzing the problem. This can also prevent a lot of accidents which are happening in the industry. So after this, we'll come to different types of waste, right? There are, in the process, there are three different types of processes, right? One is Mura, Muri, and Muda. Now this Mura is talking about unevenness. If, for example, the national highway road are very good, no bumping and no what I can say, pit hole, nothing is there. Everything is smooth. You can drive by 100 to 120 kilometer per hour. Once you come to a national, what I can say, the village road or city road also becoming like that. These are bumpy. So unevenness is there. Up and down is there. Now take an example of start stop. Now you are preparing something at your home with say microwave oven, and there is a fluctuation in power supply. What will happen? Are you getting a best taste of your food? No, there will be a problem because it will take a time for heating, right? So that unevenness is coming into the Mura. It's a Japanese terminology. So in the Gamba walk, we have to see this unevenness in the process. And sometimes that is causing a problem, right? Come to Muri, which is overburden. So most of the time, the students are overburdened. A lot of exams, so not able to give justice for the subject. A lot of assignment, right? So you're not able to focus on the right subject in the right manner. Sometimes there are a lot of problems. So you have to do the multitasking. So that will cause a mental burden, right? A lot of problem you have to solve, but that problem will have a reference from the other books. So it will like a overburden for you. Similarly, in industry, there is a overburden. If you are having a capacity of your vehicle of lifting 100 kg and you are putting 120 kg, then that will overburden, right? Poor design, poor ergonomics, pain. These are the overburden, Muri. So in Gamba walk, you have to see about this. And classic Muda, 8 type of waste. There will be a transportation, losses or waste, moving one material to other from that position to another position. No straight path. It taking a time to reach to the customer. Then transportation will come into picture. Lot of inventory. We are producing a lot of material, but that material is not getting sold off. So that will be the inventory in the organization. Motion. Within a plant, if there are different units to give a same product, like one product A, final product is F. So one A will go to B, B will go to C, C will go to D, D will go to E, and E will go to F. So there will be a motion. Why can't we go from A to F within a same plant? It is possible. We have to think about that. That is a motion. Waiting. In waiting, one person, there are, again, take an example of E to F. Now A is preparing material and F has to get a final product, but A is having the timeline of, say, suppose 24 hours, and this F is preparing a product in 16 hours. So 8 hours of waiting period is there for F. So we have to increase the capacity of A so that F will not F will not have waiting period. So all 24 hours will be utilized for F, right? So that waiting period will be diminished. Hence, we have to do the bottlenecking. So one should not be wait directly final product and then it goes to customer at same time. So for that, we have to do this VSM analysis. Visual stream. Ore processing. In ore processing, whatever product we are manufacturing, if we are not getting the quality of that product, again we are processing it to get a quality what customer want. Within one go, it is not, we are not getting it. Then it's called as a ore processing. More work in that. Ore production. It's like an inventory. If customer want only 50 kgs and we are preparing 75 kgs. So 25 kg of ore production we have done. So the work, what is needed, that only we have to do. Next is the defect. Defect is the failure rate. Like I have given the example of 99% customer want, but we are making it 98%. So that is a defect. Now this is very important. Skills. Not using worker to fullest of abilities. This happens because mostly the people who are working having the competency, different competency. Somebody has the good analysis competency. Somebody has the skill of writing good reports. So that skill is properly utilized in the plant. The manager has to see that. So that is also one kind of waste, because the skill set is competency is there with the person and that we are not utilizing it. So that is also kind of defect. So what we have seen is Muda, Muri and Mura. Mura is unevenness. Muri is overburden and Muda is the whatever waste, 8 type of waste what is there. If you want to remember that West, a type of it, you just remember Team Woods. T for transport, I for inventory, M for motion, W for waiting, O for over processing, O for overproduction, D for defect, and S for skin. And mostly in your yellow belt project, from this Muri, Muda, and Muri, Mura, and Muda, you will get the problems, and we have to find out the solution for that. It's a Japanese philosophy and very much important. Then comes the measure phase. What I earlier I have said, we are capturing the process as a string, and measurement system. We are doing the measurement system analysis and process capability. Process capability, how your process is running. That in depth we will discuss in the later part, in the later lecture. So analyze phase consists of analyzing the data. We can utilize this 7 cases tool. It will be a cause and effect diagram, fishbone diagram. We can have a check sheet. Check sheet you have seen in the if you go in hotel, there you are giving a feedback, and in feedback you are checking few items, that food is good, quality is good or not, right? You are giving feedback, that kind of check sheet for them to analyze how the food is. The control chart is for finding out the mean and upper specification limit and lower specification limit. Or in terms of specification limit, it may be control limit. Cross-production flow charts, histogram, Pareto chart, scatter plot, scatter diagram. So these kind of tools will give you the information how the problem is big, how much is the problem big, and where is the problem. This, I'm just giving this for the, what I can say, just the name of it, because in later part we'll go in deeper for each and every topic. Then comes improvement phase. In improvement phase, you are doing a piloting. You will track the action plan, comparing improvement with the baseline, and do the hypothesis testing. And then in control, benefit achieved due to the project, you are finding it. It may be a tangible benefit or intangible benefit. Tangible benefit will directly come into the saving in the rupees, and intangible, the benefit you will get it in the say quality, in terms of safety, right? And sustainability of solution is important. We have to standardize the process. So this is all about the talk about the phases of yellow belt. So next time we'll go in depth with the charter and all the phases. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, sir. I think Mr. Dhaval Saxena has also joined us.
Okay, great.
Namaste. Namaskar, sir. How are you?
Fine.
Okay.
So thank you for giving opportunity to.
It's my pleasure, sir. I hope students will get good knowledge. It is highly required for people like you and at your level to encourage them and guide them.
Right.
I hope everybody enjoyed the lecture. At the same time, some projects we are going to take up now. So I think the topics will be decided soon. 2 topics. So based on that, I will inform you and little bit on that, I think you can do the brushing part or implementation of Lean Six Sigma tools on that project.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
We can talk about the 7QC tools, how we can utilize.
Right, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Great. Thank you for showing up, sir, and it's a real pleasure. So we'll have you for more lectures. I'll be troubling you. So
Yeah, no issue, no issue. Actually, my Viva is there on 2nd for this Black Belt project.
okay, okay, great.
So we have got the certification, but Viva is there with our CEO. So we
Okay.
are preparing for that. So that's why I was skeptical about this lecture, but yes, it was great. So any questions, they can write it me to yogeshkoparkar@gmail.com. So I
Okay.
can, yeah.
Okay, great. Nikhil, I think some interaction was there. Like
Yes, sir.
they put up doubts on the message.
No, sir. Actually, it was a very good session today,
Oh,
and the pace and all everything was very good. So I don't think, but still, if anyone has any doubts, they can
Yeah.
ask.
right. Even in our Google Classroom, you can add. You have added Yogesh sir.
We have
Google,
invited. I think he has not yet joined.
I will
Okay.
join.
Okay. So
Mhm.
there, I think in the forum you can create so that they can ask questions in the forum.
Mhm.
And sir
Absolutely,
is
absolutely.
there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you introduce or not? Sir is Director R&D at Jubilant.
Yes, yes, yes. We have introduced.
Okay.
Yeah,
And still, if anyone has any doubt or any feedback,
yeah.
they can give it right now.
Okay, sir. I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nice to see
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Bye bye. Thank you, guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank
Okay. End the session.
you. Okay, I'll just stop the recording.
You can